Hello, I'm Duncan Reid. Over lockdown this year, I found myself reading some recent Australian Indigenous writing, and prompted by some events that I found very disturbing: the destruction of a traditional site in Western Australia, the cutting down of significant trees in Western Victoria, and yet another death in custody. I found myself thinking, we non-Indigenous Australians haven't really listened yet to what our Indigenous neighbours and friends are saying. And what's more, looking at the state of this country and the world, disastrous bushfires last summer and snail-paced progress towards reducing the effects of climate change, there's stuff we really need to learn from Aboriginal people. We need to start listening, and we need to start listening now. I started writing down these thoughts, and the result was something that grew into this little book that is now published by ATF Press. Because of my training and also my inclination, I wanted to bring what I was reading into conversation with my own faith tradition. The Indigenous writers I was reading were novelists, poets, social commentators. Some were Indigenous theologians. All were deeply connected with their own Australian Aboriginal cultures. And all were trying to explain something to people like me. They deserved a hearing and they deserved a response. If my response was to be authentic, it had to be respectful, and it had to come from my own most deeply felt perception of reality. And that meant it had to be theological. In many ways, my interest is very practical. How should we look after this country? How should we live in it? And at its deepest level, this concern is also spiritual, of course. How do we get in touch with the spirit of this place? And indeed, to my way of thinking, how do we get in touch with the Spirit of God who moves and has always moved in this land? The book is in three main chapters. First, some background to Aboriginal worldviews by other non-Indigenous writers. Second, an attempt to listen carefully to just a few of the Aboriginal voices I was reading. And third, a chapter on points of resonance with my own worldview. Then there's a short conclusion. So why should anyone read this book? Because I think what's being said to us by Indigenous writers is stuff we all need to hear and act upon. It's actually more important that you listen to them than to me. I'm simply offering one way in. Who should read it? Well, it's not very long, it's not highly technical, and it's by no means the last word on the matter. I've run it past a few friends and colleagues, and they tell me it's challenging in some ways, but it's not a difficult read. If you're concerned about where we're going as a nation and as a world, then please, here are some thoughts. Read what I have to say, and let's have a conversation. Thank you.